Hold on, Hickey. Nope. How many times have I done that?
A lot.
Too many times. 38 and counting, episode 10. The Patriots are number 1 in the AFC East. Today, we're joined by Milo Berry-Young, who looks like he's on a CCTV camera.
Thanks.
But Milo, thank you so much for joining us here. It's a rainy day. You decided to stick around. How you feeling today?
Fine, pretty much. Yeah, we'll go with that. It's just rain.
Milo's been a recurring guest, not reoccurring, but a big guest in the station recently. He was on Salt and Pepper with Braden and Rosh. It's a show you can listen to on WMLN FM 91.5. It's every Wednesday from 8 to 10. I remember that off the top of the dome. Jack, how you doing?
I'm good.
It's a good day.
It is a great day.
You look great today.
Bad weather. Thanks, man.
Vibes are good.
Thank you.
Declan, how you doing?
Great. Drake was the GOAT. So.
He's up there right now. One of the greatest of all time. I wouldn't say so, not yet. To talk about it, though.
Grace in my heart.
That's right. To talk about this shit, though, what an unbelievable turn of events here as the Patriots are number 1 in the AFC East. This episode is called The Division is Ours. It is like week 7, but like whatever. It's been a long time coming, 4 years. It's felt like a decade since this team has been in that spot. How do you feel about the Patriots just overall before we get into the Saints game?
Yeah, I feel a hell of a lot different than I did to start the year. I was very low on this team coming into the year, and to be honest, they're surprising me, and they're making me turn a corner on them, and they're playing just good football, and obviously the guy under center in his second year is playing like an MVP candidate. Drake Maye's having a heck of a year so far and isn't really, having the best receiver help. His receivers are playing well, but, obviously on paper they're not absolute studs like some of these other quarterbacks have. But he's been playing great. Obviously this team's well coached by Mike Vrabel and our kind of new defensive coordinator, who obviously is filling in for Terrell Williams because Terrell Williams is dealing with health issues, but McDaniels is doing well on the offensive coordinator side. So it's cool to see. It's like kind of back in the old days so far, and we've just been playing well, playing good football.
Declan, your thoughts on this Patriots team overall, then we'll get into that Saints game.
Yeah, I think definitely like a roller coaster of a year so far, starting out with the bad Raiders game, then kind of like those first 3 games kind of like that Dolphins game, them like barely winning to them, losing that Steelers game, and I think to the team just changing in these last 3 weeks when you beat a team like the Bills and you go and beat the Saints and you do it in a very, I'd say, a commanding fashion, barring the refs in that game, which we'll get into a little later, which are awful,
egregious,
maybe the worst I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, definitely like Drake Maye playing like the player that the Patriots drafted very much, kind of elevating himself to be this kind of like superstar player now, kind of like trying to like emerge as his own. And I think we knew what this defense was going to be this whole year. This defense has been pretty solid. Obviously, getting Christian Gonzalez back has been so crucial to them. The secondary has been great. I think the defensive lineman is great, and even I just think the whole defense has been great. It's just this offense has probably been a surprise to a lot of people, especially after that Steelers game, and then them kind of changing the way they play, and just Drake Maye being that guy in general.
Milo, a guy that, quite frankly, you don't consider yourself a Patriots fan. This AFC has been pretty damn bad, according to many, because of the fact that the teams like the Bills are now in second place in the AFC East. Ravens have lost Lamar Jackson at 1-5. Just thoughts on the AFC, and now, of course, you being a Bo Nix guy and that Broncos squad. What are you seeing from this top 5 with the Patriots now looming in at the 4 seed?
Well, I think for the Patriots now, they have they definitely improved massively since the start of the season. It looked like it was definitely going to be like a rocky start. Probably almost, I wouldn't say go winless, but they would have to dig deep for a lot of these matchups. I mean, they are 4-2, and that's not for luck or at all. They've won games. They've had to fight. Bills they're a tough team, and they're certainly going through a slope right now. But and as well with the Saints game, I mean, the Saints, they haven't been a good team since Breeze and Peyton were there. So winning that as well, that's also a nice sort of refresher from the Bills game as well. But this entire AFC it's been in massive shambles. I mean, we have the Colts going 5-1. So who would have thought the
DJ?
Colts? Yeah, who would have thought
Indiana.
the Colts would have actually been 5-1 and are at the top of the end at the AFC? I mean, if you told me that, let's say maybe a year ago, I'd say no, they're probably at the bottom. But their attack from rushing to passing and the fact that they have the best offensive line and as well as a really sound defense, I really wouldn't say that, they're definitely the biggest favorite here for the AFC. For Kansas City, they're not as good as people would say, but, and the Broncos as well. We could easily be in the same record that the Colts have as well. It's just from the fact that the play calling hasn't been there mostly, and a lot of the questionable play calling that Peyton likes to run, but the fact that we do have the best defense in the league, and that's without, saying much. But a lot of decision making and play calling, it's sort of out of whack with the team that is 3-3 when in all reality they should at least have 5 or 4 wins. So
And it's a weird AFC, and for the Pats, I mean, I'd say they're in a good spot. We talk about the schedule from the beginning of the season was not going to be the toughest in the world. We talked about that, and they've kind of showed for it. I mean, obviously at this point they should have that Week 1 Raiders game we should have seen coming a little bit with the way that Josh McDaniels' play calling is in the first 2 weeks, regardless as to who the quarterback is. End up losing that one. They dropped the Steelers game. We were furious about the 5 turnovers, and that's just how you lose ball games. On a 3-game win streak now, Mike Vrabel at the helm. I mean, they seem to have bought in. They seem to be in a stride where they feel like they're not only confident in their approach, but also confident in their coach. And we talked about this in pre-show. It all falls on the quarterback. Drake Maye has been unbelievable. I mean, he has been exactly what I thought he was going to be coming out of the draft from North Carolina, a guy that some people say, he was an ACC team. Jack brought that up, especially when he was drafted. But it's funny because, I mean, the guy turned down offers to go to Georgia, to go to Alabama, to play for the hometown team. And Bill Belichick doesn't want scouts going down there, and Belichick has absolutely no idea what kind of push and this Maye family has, especially with the brothers. I played basketball there, and the fact that Drake's one of their best quarterbacks probably since Mitchell Trubisky in college. Drake's been unbelievable. I have some stats to talk about later on, but just to go to you, Jack, you brought it up in the chat. You humbly apologized, I guess, as you've kind of finally put your input in. You're going to ride this now. With Maye. Mm-hmm. Just thoughts on him and how he's elevated the offense.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be the first one to admit I was very low on him at the draft. Just with history and kind of watching the NFL over the last so many years, just ACC quarterbacks tend to, in my opinion, not to pan out, but he's been proving that claim wrong of mine. Obviously, last year wasn't great. I understand he really didn't play that much. It was kind of a shit show with Gerard Mayo, and just everything was just not in his favor. But he's been living up to the expectations. You give him a good coach like Mike Vrabel, and he's just finding his own. He's doing his thing, and he just has a lot of confidence, and you're seeing it. So it's honestly, he is proving me wrong. He's making me turn the corner. Again, I will be the first one to admit I was low on him draft night, but hey, it's good to have a guy under center we can trust, and that guy's Drake Maye, and he knows what he's capable of doing. He knows he can lead a team. He did it at UNC. So yeah, he's been proving me wrong. He's been playing some damn good football this year.
To talk about before we go to Declan, and then Milo's thoughts on Drake. Taylor Kyles had actually, a great reporter from Patriots CLNS. He does a great job. Mike Vrabel brings him up all the time in press conferences. He had some great stats about Drake. His deep 20-plus air yard mark is the highest in the NFL when it comes to completing it, 156.3%. Versus the blitz, he's the highest among quarterbacks at 138 on his completion. Or as QBR against the NFL rank. Without play action, he has the third highest at 109. Under pressure, he has the eighth highest at 90. He's tied for sixth most scramble yards with Justin Herbert, the guy he's been compared to since he was drafted, at 131 scramble yards. And to talk about it, me and Jack brought up this Patriots-Bucks game in pre-production, how important and big that game's going to be. They might flex it into the Sunday night with Tom Brady calling it.
Yep.
As of right now, the two, as most people have been saying, the top MVP candidates, because Lamar has been out and the way Josh and Drake has legitimately edged out Josh Allen in stats. Both Baker Mayfield and Drake May comparison in stats. I had done these notes last night. Drake has a 73% completion percentage. Baker with a 66. Yards per attempt. Drake's at 8.5. Baker's at 7.5. Total yards. Drake's at 1,662. Baker's at 1,697. They both have 12 total touchdowns. Drake May has 94 first downs. Baker with 88. Drake's got 2 picks. Baker's 1. The PFF grade at 83.9 for Drake, 82.9 for Baker. Both have a 72 and 70 QB rating, and they've been extremely efficient on first down and third down. So 2 guys that are right now front runners in the MVP race because of what quarterback play has been like, and the fact that Mac Jones has a starting job in the league. Declan, thoughts on Drake, his efficiency, and the way he's been playing with this offense, just to give you a chance on that.
Yeah, like back to what I was saying before, yeah, like definitely living up to that superstar like MVP level. Like he's just been that good. He's like been making like the right plays. He's been very concise. In these kind of like in these important drives, he's done a very good job at like not forcing the ball anymore. Like being very patient. There's been more of the times of him like stepping up in the pocket more than him like last year just trying to like run out to the right, procure a ball. Even though like he still does that now, but he does it in a more he does it in like a better way now with more patience. I feel like last year he was kind of like rushing more, and I feel like this year's been so much better. Like you said, his like all the stats you like named were obviously like that impressive. And yeah, like that Bucks game is definitely gonna be a very, very important one. I think the Patriots could probably win their next 2 games. Probably go into that game with like a 5-game win streak. So yeah, that would be like a huge game because of the two some of the biggest like MVP candidates for this season.
Milo, your thoughts on Drake? I don't know what your opinions was of him coming out of the draft. It was a big class, obviously with Caleb off the top, then Jaden Daniels second, who's been pretty solid this season. Haven't heard a lot on Jaden this year. But just thoughts of him and what your original thoughts were coming out of the draft.
Well, thoughts now, obviously the way he commands this offense has been better than any QB with the name of Tom Brady since the Patriots have gotten. We've gotten Mac Jones, Brissett for a while, but the way that he commands this offense is just a lot more proficient than anyone could have imagined. And through Josh McDaniels' system, Josh McDaniels will only have a good offensive coordinator system. Never put him in a head coaching job ever again. But I just really think with how the offense revolves around him, the offensive line is probably their biggest weakness on the offensive side. They've given up 18 sacks. They're tied for 4th in the league. The receivers as well. I know Stephon Diggs, he's a big name, but other than that, coming off the ACL injury, doesn't really have a touchdown on the season, and your biggest red zone threat is your tight ends. There's nothing wrong with having that as your tight ends. I think Hunter Henry is probably their most complete receiver on the team. I like Boutte as well, but when you have a proper red zone threat in Hunter Henry and mostly all your tight ends as well, that sort of negates the fact that you have technically a big hole in the receiving core as well. But anyway, my original thoughts for Maye coming out of the draft and sort of in recent memory of how North Carolina and their QBs since Mitchell Trubisky haven't been the best. Obviously, we've seen Mitchell Trubisky try and pan out with the Bears. That was just an awful situation. He did have one good season. It wasn't the best season. No, double doink. Sorry, Bears fans. But my original thoughts were Maye is that I really hoped him to be, the successor that the Patriots are looking for. Mac Jones did look promising. However, he went on the slope, and that sort of derailed a lot of stuff in Mac Jones's career at that point, and he was gone within about 3 years. So I think originally that I was a lot more promising towards Drake Maye when he came and started. He had a solid rookie season, wasn't something that would grab a lot of eyes immediately. But the fact that he comes into this season, he's 10-2 through a TD interception ratio, and he's leading the team to a 4-2 record, with the amount of questionable pass protection that the team has and the turnovers as well. He's dealt with a lot of adversity, a lot of teams that he's going to face. The Buccaneers is probably, that's going to be the toughest game of the season, pretty much. That will define whether or not Drake Maye can lead this entire team, not just offense, just the entire defense, and as well as the coaching and play calling. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, and then to talk about up front, I know the 18 sacks is a tough one to look at and to be fourth in the league. But, as Patriots fans, we know what a bad five looks like. We know what that feels like. We looked at it last year. Our highest graded offensive lineman was a 65, 66 in Mike Nwanu, who didn't have a great season. I think the team up front, it's like one of those things where it's like the Red Sox. We talked about the errors. They looked better defensively, but they still led the league in errors, right? It was one of those things. Like, I think from the eye test, if you look outside of the stacks, they look a lot better. I think that comes with Will Campbell, who's been great at left tackle. For a rookie, I think Jared Wilson, despite having like the 61 PFF grade, whatever, has been pretty solid in the interior. Garrett Bradbury is one mistake on that fourth down, getting the ball past Drake Maye. He was the guy that I thought was going to be our terrible piece of this offensive line. And Mike Nwanu, who's been great at guard this year, along with the veteran and Morgan Moses. I think they've built that line to a point where they can give Drake enough time, and they have the entire season. I think the pressures for sure, Drake's ability to improvise has made that offensive line look better than it actually is on paper. But, I think I see what you mean with, time. Fourth in the league is tough to be in sacks. But at the same time, I think they've given Drake a lot of time. And the one spot that I want Jack to talk about is the run game. Evan Lazar brought this up yesterday. Patriots reporter. The line has given this running back room 4 yards of push every time they snap the ball. They're averaging 3.5 yards of push every time they snap the ball. Is this a running back issue? Because I think that's what it falls on. If you're not able to get at least 4 yards off a 3.5 yard push, you have to be a bad running back. I mean, there's no other in-betweens. And obviously they've given Ramondre Stevenson as many opportunities as possible, despite him having a fumbling problem for his entire career. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that? Is this a line issue or is this a running back issue?
I think it's by far a running back issue. I don't think we have really a lot of talent in the running back department at all. I think there's going to be people in this room that said, oh, other than the fumbles, Ramondre's having a good year. He's having a good year doesn't mean he's good, right? I mean, I think, again, like he can score on the goal line, but I mean, if you're a running back, you should be able to. Yeah. I think I look around the league and all these teams who have stud running backs, they get out of the line of scrimmage and they're gone. Their burst of speed, their change of direction. You'll get Bijan, Christian McCaffrey, and I know they're the best of the best, but
right.
Stevenson can't do what those guys do out of the way.
But that's what Travion does. And they're not giving him the opportunities.
Right.
When he runs outside, his burst of speed is up there with some of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, and you saw it on his kick return.
Exactly.
In preseason, he's fast, man.
But the minimal opportunities he's had this season, in the Saints game, which we're going to kind of try and fit it into this conversation. Did you see when Drake, the pocket collapsed and his eyes have been stained outfield. He's getting better at that. I mean, Vrabel says there's always something to improve on. Of course, I mean, any coach would say that. But for Drake, it's not dropping your eyes down and getting sacked, keeping your eyes up. That entire Saints game, Drake kept his eyes up. This team, by the way, also to go back on the sacks point, they haven't given up a sack, actually hitting the quarterback instead of the quarterback running out to the line of scrimmage getting hit. They haven't given up a sack since that Week 3 game. When he was improvising, the line collapsed. Travion was outside. He flipped the ball.
Yeah.
And Travion, his burst got them the first down. I mean, if Ramondre's in that situation, he would have broken down 4.5 yards probably.
Yeah.
You got to give that guy more time and space.
I completely agree. I think, he's quicker. I think he can, I think he honestly fights for more yards than Stevenson does. And again, I think if we had one, really good, solid running back, I think this team could really be a powerhouse in the AFC. Obviously running backs are kind of really hit and miss nowadays. Right. So you kind of got to draft them. And honestly, the ones who are cooking now in the league tend to be great in college. But you just got to draft the right guy. Again, I think Henderson was great in college at Ohio State, obviously a national champion. But yeah, you got to start playing him more because I think if he gets, the more confident he gets, the quicker he gets, the more familiar with this offense and that offensive line, I think he could be really good, really good.
It seems to me like if you look at the run rate within the guards interior wise, they when they do it, they're in the negatives. Mm-hmm. They get stuffed, and a lot of the times when they're running inside, they like to use Ramondre because they're like he's the big body guy, he's the the wider frame,
the power back.
Yeah. But when we've seen Travion in that role interior-wise, he's gaining 4.5 yards, 5 yards a pop when he runs inside.
Yeah.
When they run him outside in Campbell's side or Morgan's side, he's gaining 7 yards. Travion's, their ability to get leverage on outside runs is the only reason why they've been able to run the ball. Right? Interior-wise, you need to give Travion more chances because when they do run the ball inside with him, statistically, he's gaining 4.5 to 5 yards, which is much better than the negatives of what Ramondre is doing.
Yeah.
Declan, what do you think? Is this a line or a running back issue?
Running back, but it's also like you don't even have to like totally like phase out Ramondre. You can keep like Ramondre for those kind of like power situations when you're kind of in like the like last like 10 yards on the goal line. But also, yeah, like it's like I just give Travion like way more reps, and then I feel like you can get to a point where you can really like have them both like a split, but give like Travion more of the reps and kind of phase like Ramondre out to less, but also like still like keep Ramondre in there because you need a second running back no matter what. It's becoming like a 2 running back league. So that's
Go ahead.
I just this is where I disagree. I mean, it's weak.
What? How?
No, this is where I
How,
disagree
though?
because I know you're saying it's 2 running back league. I get it. It's a 2 running back league. I keep saying lead. Fuck. It's a 2 running back league. If your other running back hasn't had a fumbling issue for a season and a half.
But yes, that's why I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Give it to Travion more. But, like, you can't totally phase him out completely. That wouldn't make any sense.
The only part of me that is old school in this way is that when a guy turns the ball over and you lose opportunities to win a ball game, you bench him. He doesn't see the field.
I agree, but it's...
if you want to put him, sorry to cut you off, but if you want to put him in power situations like you're saying,
yeah,
I'm not going to put a guy in the red zone that fumbles. He did it. I was at the Bengals-Patriots game when Mac Jones was leading this team out and Matt Patricia was the offensive coordinator. We lost the game inside the 5 because guess who fumbled the ball?
But you don't have anyone else to put out there. You lost Gibson.
I would rather Terrell whatever be in the red zone if you want to give Travion less reps in the red area. If Travion's going to run the ball the entire drive and he needs to chill inside the 5, fine. But if you want to make him a workhorse, which he was at Ohio State, by the way, you make him the workhorse. Have him do the entire drive.
It's funny you say that about the 2 running back league. You're both right. There are a lot of teams who have a 2 running back system, but those teams who have a 2 running back system, you look at the Falcons with Algier and Bijan, and then obviously Detroit with Montgomery and Gibbs. They don't fumble.
Disgusting.
They don't fumble. They hold on to the ball. The amount of hits Bijan takes and holds onto the ball is like I actually think like his glove should be illegal. Like he doesn't let go of the ball, and neither does Algier. So I understand what you're saying, but Chuck's right. I mean, Montgomery, Gibbs, they don't lose the football. And I think you can try to do a 2 running back system, but if a guy like Ramondre is just going to keep fumbling, you just got to push him to the sideline.
Declan?
But, okay. I'm only saying that, like, obviously if, like, Gibson then tears ACL, it would have been him and Gibson for sure would have been, like, the best, would have been a very good duo. But I don't really think, like, I just don't really think the other, like, running backs that are under, like, Ramondre are that good. And I know Ramondre's a fumbler, but he's still better than, like, any of the other, like, 3rd or 4th string like running backs.
Before I go to
that's true.
Before I go to Milo on this, in my opinion, my humble opinion, if you're a running back and you fumble the ball, your job is to hold on to the football and run the ball.
Right.
If you fumble, this is where I highly disagree with Mike Vrabel on about this guy won us this game and he was our leading receiver against Miami and whatever. I don't agree with that. Milo, do you agree with playing that guy? Should he continue to play?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
But the other running backs are bad.
Give him a chance. Why is the reason?
Well, when you have a guy like Ramondre Stevenson, his physicality and the fact that, you're going to keep him as sort of your 3rd and short, 4th and 1, 4th and inches kind of guy, and the fact that you're going to have him fumble on the 1-yard line, I mean, it was a peanut punch. There's not really much you can do. But when you're a running back and you're carrying the ball here, close to your ribs, that's something that you've, never been taught. You got to keep it tight, high, to keep it out of, TJ Watt's hands. Because if you're facing, teams that will punch out the ball, it's obviously you're going to have, the same thing against the Steelers as you would. So going more and more on. But with a guy like TreVeyon Henderson and how he was a workhorse at Ohio State, it seems to me that, you know, the offense and the personnel and the coaching staff don't, for some reason, just don't really see a lot of trust that they would have in Ramondre Stevenson, unfortunately. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, you know, he almost had 1,000-yard seasons a couple years ago, and more recently, he has been their main guy. But the fumbles have always been there. But for some reason, you know, the entire coaching staff, the entire offensive staff will more likely back up behind Stevenson because he knows the playbook through and through. He's been there quite a long time. And with the emergence of Henderson, it seems as though that, you know, the fans want change, and that has to begin now. I mean, you've lost Gibson for the season. Gibson also, he started out strong with Washington, and then his touches decreased because he fumbled the ball as well. So if you want to go with a double-headed monster in the backfield, you're going to have to make Henderson your main back. And if Henderson has, you know, not as much success inside the numbers in A-gap, B-gap, then you can choose to Stevenson. But you have to tell Stevenson to keep the ball tight, wrap it up with two hands. I mean, obviously you're going to get tackled because you can't make many moves with two hands. But it's just the fact that ball security as a running back is your biggest issue. Likely you're going to want to change towards Henderson because he's breathing life into this offense.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you know, obviously quickly, another guy who's obviously a future Hall of Famer, and Derrick Henry has fumbling issues this year, but the Ravens keep playing him. That's because they have nobody else in the backfield. It's Derrick Henry. You're not going to bench Derrick Henry, right? But when it comes to a situation like Ramondre and Henderson, I look back, it's like, you know, two crucial games, obviously the biggest games of the year, the Super Bowl. LeGarrette Blount against the Seahawks, he fumbled. He was done. Vereen took place. Against the Falcons. The Falcons, he fumbled again. White and Lewis, like literally LeGarrette Blount was benched for the rest of the game, and those two took over.
You know what I loved about LeGarrette Blount at the end of the game? He's hugging Brady and Belichick after 5, and he's like, "We did it, man." It's like, bro, you had 2 rushes that game.
Like fumbled and got benched.
But I'll go to you, Declan, in a second, just to wrap this topic up on Ramondre Stevenson. The Patriots right now rank 5th in the NFL in passing. Mm-hmm. They're one of the best passing offenses in football. They rank 29th in rushing, and they're 4-2. I don't know how that's even remotely possible. Coming from a guy that ran the ball in high school, like every snap of the ball, I'm saying, like 3.5 yards per rush. They have a negative .18 points added per rush, 30th in the NFL. They have the 31st success rate. They're 26th in the NFL for rushing yards per game. Half of their rushing yards come from their quarterback in Drake Maye.
I wanted to say before Declan goes real quick, and when we get to better teams, obviously the Bucs and the Ravens,
right,
probably the best rosters will play. Harbaugh and Todd Bowles are going to see that and be like, we're gonna make them beat us running the ball.
Right.
And then this is just not going to happen because they're good enough coaches to realize.
Well, the Ravens defense would get torched.
It's still John Harbaugh.
He's a bad coach.
I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion.
You can't do much with Cooper Rush at your quarterback, though.
No, but I'm saying like
they're going to realize. Okay, we need.
That's a side topic.
And
Harbaugh's just not.
I think it's absolutely not a side topic. But carry on.
He's a bad game manager as a coach. He just always.
I think more recently, I agree with Declan. I don't think he's been the greatest manager.
But I think he's smart enough to realize we're going to try to have the Patriots.
Well,
beat
I'd
us.
hope any head coach would be smart enough to see that offense and the way that they cannot fucking run the ball and say, all right, guys, well, if they're in this, because the Patriots and Josh McDaniels.
Saints head coach couldn't do it.
Exactly. But I'm saying, what are you talking about? The running the ball? We couldn't run the ball Sunday at all.
That's what I'm saying. We beat them in the pass game.
I understand that. But I'm saying any head coach should be able to see the fact that we can't run the ball.
Right.
Is that what you're saying about the Ravens?
Yes.
Yeah, any head coach should be able to do that. I don't care if you're John Harbaugh or fucking who's the Saints head coach? I forgot his name.
I don't know, the guy
he was the
Cowboys.
OC for the Cowboys.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah, he couldn't figure it out. I'm sure, he figured it out because we suck at running the ball. Declan.
But, okay. I agree that TreVeyon should be the starter. I want him to be the starter. He is my fantasy running back. Trust me, I need it. Trust me, I need this speed. I need this. But I still don't think they're going to phase him out completely. That's why I'm saying the point, because I don't think they'll completely phase him out. But I do think Travion should get like more than almost like 2/3 of the reps, like at the running back position.
So then you make him your running back one.
Yeah, I know. That's what, I'm not disagreeing that he should be running back one. I'm just saying that Ramondre won't get fully phased out. But I did like the point you made before, saying you can test Travion in the inside gaps and do all that stuff, and then if it's not panning out, then go back to him. I do think that's a good idea, though.
I need Ramondre Stevenson, and he was a cut candidate for me before the season. I wish he got cut. I mean, if I could have called this from a fucking mile away before the season began, I almost did. The guy should not be on this roster. I think he's quite literally limiting this offense, and it's annoying. I know he was a boomer sooner. I'm sure he was great in college and whatever, but it's physically and emotionally like killing me when we're running the ball and we get stuffed, because his ability to bring his 2 feet together and skip into a tackle, it's annoying. Travion will see the gap, he hits it, he gets 4 yards. Give the guy the ball. He's got a small sample size. To move on from that, prior to going to the Saints game, I know I'm big on fucking random stats, but passing efficiency for Drake Maye since Brady in 01. Brady had from 01 to the end of Brady's career, he had a 9.5 this is on a scale of 0 to 12. He had a 9.5 pass efficiency, Brady. Drake Maye has a 12 pass efficiency right now. He passed Tom Brady in just 19 games, being efficient with the football. To talk about the Saints game, that was the worst fucking officiating I've ever seen in my life.
Ever.
The NFL is lucky that nobody was watching that game. Jack, do you recall the first call that was awful? Do you recall?
Don't.
It's okay if you
bear
don't.
with me here. I think was it
because there was like 6 of them.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Wasn't it the one on where DeMario caught the second long ball?
That's the first one. Yes.
That was the first one.
That's the first
Yeah,
flag.
the OPI.
So DeMario Douglas,
on Diggs, the OPI on Diggs.
If you're not aware,
Both of them.
the ball was thrown.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. DeMario caught a 53-yard touchdown. Next drive on second and medium, Drake threw another deep pass to him. He juked inside and ran for a touchdown. When the PAT unit was out there, they threw a late flag, and they said there was pass interference. Stephon Diggs, who was 40 yards away from the play, put his hand on the defender, and they called a defensive pass interference.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Then I thought it wouldn't get any worse, but it did when the third and long, after we were penalized like 2 straight times offensively, which is something they're never going to clean up, the fact that they just keep fucking causing penalties and false starts and all that bullshit. I hope they figure out a way to clean it up. Drake Maye throws a ball and he steps up in the pocket and looks like fucking prime Brady against the Saints, Drew Brees, whatever. Steps in the pocket, throws a 55-yard dagger down the field to Diggs. They call it push-off. Both the Saints player and Diggs were pushing off each other.
Yes, I do remember that one.
And then the next play, after that, Mac Hollins, for some godforsaken reason, he's on the fucking field running a go route. The ball is off his hands. He should have caught it. And they call DPI when the defender was holding his fucking arm back.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And we almost got stiffed again when Vrabel had to challenge the fumble on the tight end. I mean, that ball was out before his knee.
What about the one before that on Olave?
Yeah.
Olave made a great catch over Marcus Jones.
Yep.
2 feet down, put his third foot down when he tried to run, and then the ball got knocked out by Charles Woods, and they said that's just an incompletion?
Yeah.
They missed another fumble.
Yeah, bad.
Vrabel should have challenged that one too.
Bad.
That was the worst officiating I've ever seen in my life.
And that made the game look close, even though we torched them.
The first half was ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, that Saints team, not good.
No.
Terrible. I don't think Rattler did that bad, but other than that, they're not good.
I don't think they're a good team. And we talked about it. We were like, they're 1-5, but Rattler's been efficient, and he was efficient.
Yeah.
He hits guys in stride. He's got a solid arm. But
I think some of the wide receivers could be on a move in the trade.
100%. Shaheed's great. I don't know if they'll get rid of him, but he's been great.
Probably Olave's gone though at the deadline, I'd say.
Okay. let's then, since we know how bad the officiating was, and that's been something we talked about, I don't know, the media's talked about it enough in the past hour. How about we move to trade deadline and what the expectations are there, either for the Patriots or for the NFL in general? Who are some guys that we think could be on the move? My number one target, and I again, this is like, everyone's going to say like, oh, Chuck, you're stupid, and what, the Eagles wouldn't do that. I think A.J. Brown would be awesome in New England, and I think the guy hasn't been targeted. And I think receivers like A.J. Brown, who have been Patriots fans their entire lives and were so hyped to get a Julian Edelman jersey in the mail that was signed, and the fact that was a part of his childhood and whatever, I think guys like that would be pretty easy to get at the deadline if they're not getting targeted by somebody that I unfortunately was overrating the fuck out of in Jalen Hurts, who I really enjoyed watching, especially during the Super Bowl run. I don't think he's a great quarterback. He's a great athlete. He's not a great quarterback. I think AJ could be on the move, and I think a deadline attempt at getting him and nabbing Mike Vrabel's pick at receiver from Tennessee would be great for Drake Maye. I can't even tell you how much I would not be surprised if AJ Brown was a Patriot. I wouldn't. I would be like, least surprising fucking thing that happened all season, especially if the Patriots are still in a great spot on their record going into that deadline in Week 8. Jack, before we go to Declan and Milo, what are your thoughts on either the A.J. Brown acquisition or what other players you think could be on the move around the NFL?
I mean, I think A.J. Brown, that would be big for us. Obviously, like you mentioned, they were, A.J. Brown and Vrabel were together in Tennessee, and they had success. Vrabel took a shot at him right out of college and kind of made him the guy he is today. Obviously, he's a Super Bowl champion last year with the Eagles. Do I think he kind of has some off-the-field issues? Yeah,
he's a receiver. It's going to happen,
right?
Any receiver,
right? But I think when a guy is that good and his size, like, it's just you throw the ball up and he's going to get it. But, I mean, he's big, he's strong.
Talk about the match with Drake Maye.
Yeah,
I mean, he spread. Obviously, McDaniels and Milo brought this up. Just the way McDaniels runs the offense, it spread the wealth, it spread the ball. Yeah, I talked about it. Kayshon Boutte gets 5+ receptions in a game. He'll have 2 touchdowns. He's averaging a touchdown and a half and over 100 yards when you target him 5 times. He's been efficient on third down. You get to slot down Diggs to your receiver 2, as he's been playing in the slot, move Kayshon to your 3, and have A.J. Brown at the top of that receiving core. I think it'd be a beautiful match for Drake Maye. Declan, what other NFL candidates? What other players do you think will be candidates at the deadline?
Obviously, I mentioned like Olave and like what's his one?
Shaheed?
Yeah. I don't know if they'll be on the move because other players in the NFL, I'm not really.
You're not tapped in?
I haven't been too tapped in.
I think Milo might be our guy on that then. You got any candidates you think are going to get moved around the deadline?
I'd likely think Trey Hendrickson.
Big one.
Oh, wow.
From the Bengals, obviously.
You said Trey Hendrickson, by the way.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals is probably if on par with A.J. Brown of being the biggest name in the trade deadline. I mean, he's had issues with the Bengals for years and not getting paid properly. I mean, when you have a guy that's averaging double-digit sacks every season, he's being your staple on the defensive line, he's going to want out. And he's on a team that's not good at all.
Jake Browning?
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Flacco right now, actually. Yeah.
Joe? Yep.
Yeah. And then when you have, in a sort of division like that, the best team is the Steelers, and it's likely, every team there is in a injury slope.
Yeah.
And there's going to be really not much of a point to be there any longer if you want to see success. I likely think the 49ers will pick up on Trey Hendrickson. They lost Nick Bosa. That pass rush hasn't been.
Surprised me at all.
No.
It's a good call.
That's honestly like probably the biggest name that's probably going to go to the 49ers as well. I also think maybe Demario Davis on the Saints as well.
That's a really good, yeah.
Yeah, he's likely going to be out of the Saints. Same kind of issue, 1-5. There's no reason. He's been a great tackler. Jordan Brooks as well. Dolphins. He leads the league in tackles. Why not just go to a contender? You can add to the Colts. Go to another AFC rival.
Right.
That's going to elevate the Colts even more if they get a great tackler like Brooks. But that's pretty much like what I have to say mostly. A.J. Brown as well. Seems as though that he could go to the Patriots. The only issue I have is, he has been sort of a character. He likes to talk a lot about himself. I don't blame him. He's definitely one of the best wide receivers in the league, no matter how many targets he hasn't gotten. It's just sort of the issue you're going to have with, Josh McDaniels as your offensive coordinator. There's going to be clashes. He likely still has a great relationship with Mike Vrabel, but when you have, the personality of a guy like Josh McDaniels, there's going to be, issues no matter what, head coach or not. Josh McDaniels, just him and developing players, incorporating guys into playbooks. I mean, we've seen it countless times again, so it's hard to say.
I personally believe that I think Josh would just, you kind of just have to shut your mouth. It's like you got, I know he's a guy who likes to spread the. Josh is not to Milo's point. What I think Milo is trying to indicate there is it's not like a fucking dickhead, like his vibe is more like, I'm going to spread the wealth. You're not, you're not going to be the guy at all times. Like what? Because that's what he's done his entire career. Because we had a head coach that, quite frankly, valued drafting players out of Division II colleges instead of drafting receivers. I quite frankly believe that AJ Brown in a Patriots team at the deadline that has 3 losses. If we hit that and we're only at 3 losses by the deadline, we're obviously contenders in the playoffs. And Mike Vrabel is your head coach.
Yeah.
I think it's a match made in heaven.
I mean, I agree. I think Milo and honestly you, Chuck, make good points. Like, I think AJ Brown being the way he is off the field in Philly, there's no, Sirianni doesn't have any control of that locker room, right? Like, let's just be honest. He's not like a Vrabel who's going to be like, you got to cut the shit, right? Like, Vrabel told Diggs, all right, you got to get your shit together. And now he's
leading the team.
Yeah, and now he's not
That's right.
doing all this other off-field stuff that can get you into trouble.
Yeah.
And I think if AJ Brown comes here, he'd be like, oh my God, what I did with Sirianni's not going to fly with Mike.
Right.
And I know that.
But he knows Mike.
He knows Mike, and he likes Mike.
It's not like he's going to I just think it'd be the least surprising thing to happen at the deadline. And the fact is, the way the deadline works in the NFL is so much different than the MLB. I mean, in the MLB, we see some of the best prospects get moved for a single player, or 6 prospects get moved for a single player. I think a guy like AJ Brown, it's the hard truth of it. The package is not going to be great for Philadelphia. I think they're not going to get a first for him.
Like maybe a third, second?
They're going to get a second or a third for him. They might get a second this year and a third the next year if it's just going to be picks. But if they pick up a player, I don't think it'd be a pick and maybe like a guy like Duggar. The value is not as high. AJ Brown's a great receiver, but the way that I think Stretch, who's been incredible in Mike Vrabel's headset the entire season, acting as Ernie Adams up top, I think him and that front office, Elliott Wolf, who's sitting in a role that is not actually his, I think they're going to figure it out, what leverage they have with Philly. Declan, thoughts on that, on A.J. Brown, potentially, a deadline acquisition?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a surprising thing. I agree with Jack to the point, he definitely changed the way that, Diggs' mindset was, and then he knew, obviously there could be some clash with Josh McDaniels, but I think that would be great, kind of running, AJ Brown at the wide receiver 1, Booty, and then putting Diggs in that kind of slot wide receiver role would definitely make the offense look way better. It would definitely make this offense look insane, and definitely something you want to build on, especially if you go into that deadline with only 3 losses. I don't think it would be that crazy of a thing to happen just based on what's been happening to the Eagles and A.J. Brown this year.
You give Drake Maye a guy like A.J. Brown after already being a front runner, a top 5 quarterback. I think it's – and the fact is now the Patriots are back in a spot where players want to come here to play with Drake Maye. I mean, that's ridiculous to even think about. After 19 games, you want to come here and play with a guy that's the youngest quarterback in the NFL. And I think it's unbelievable. And I think Drake will consistently continue to get better. And the fact that we still have not reached the limit of Drake, I will continue to glaze him until the end of his tenure. Okay, moving on from NFL and from the Patriots, and I think Hendrickson was a good call, and I also think the Davis one's a good call. 125 tackles a year averaging. I mean, that guy's, despite him being a veteran, he's.
Would you try to trade for a back?
I don't think a running back would be.
No.
It's just not really worth the value because the running back value has been the market's set.
I think it's more of if you're gonna double dip and get. I think if you're gonna get one, it's got to be a receiver like AJ.
Yeah.
And if you're going to double dip, it's got to be a linebacker because we do not have depth there. We have Spillane and Christian Ellis.
I think the
Spillane
whole Saints team is just like there's so many pieces like on the deadline there.
Yeah, well, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you can go ahead.
No, I agree.
I mean, when Spillane is like your best linebacker, he leads the team in tackles as a linebacker and interceptions as well.
Yeah, he's pretty good. But like I think, and he's
As
gotten,
a downfield tackler, Spillane is very good.
He's gotten better, but
Yeah.
I'm saying Christian Ellis is to his right.
Yeah.
He's like a mediocre linebacker. He
Yeah.
makes
Devy
tackles.
has
He got a
been-
forced fumble against the Saints, but like you add a guy like Davis next to Spillane,
It's disgusting.
that's a
Yeah.
gross linebacker.
Yeah.
core. I'm saying Spillane by himself is fine, but I'm saying like the core is not. There's no depth there.
This is obviously. I don't think this would happen, and I probably am gonna get an earful from you guys.
Yeah.
But would you call New Orleans and see what you can get for Chase Young?
I don't want Chase Young.
No, there's kind of no point. I mean,
We're
his value and his play
Like, are we
has
good,
just
We don't have an edge. Sorry to cut you off, but like he's a
Kayvon Thibodeau. You could.
Yeah, you
that's
could.
somebody, sure. But like
With the Giants
Chase Young
taking
would
him, though, I don't
legitimately
think
cost a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, but that would move Abdul Carter into a more
Huh?
established role.
I just don't think they would trade him. But yeah,
I mean, he hasn't been producing really as much as what they had drafted him for.
Sure.
I mean, I really know that they like the name value. They like his addition with Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, but when you have other guys on that team who are good at tackling, good at getting after the quarterback, like your middle line, your linebackers, Okiriki, Thibodeau kind of sort of gets phased out in that sort of rotation.
He hasn't really been in the spot
Yeah.
to play. And a guy like Chase Young, like we said, like you brought up, or Jack had brought up, and that's going to cost you like a 6th-round pick. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got no value. And, they do need edge help. I don't think it's been great for the Patriots at edge. Kayvon Chason's been okay. Keon White has been abysmal. He's a guy
Yeah.
that I think could probably get traded.
Easily,
Um, the thing is, like, you like a guy with an attitude like him to be a game wrecker. He's not. He's been completely suppressed. I don't see anything coming out of that. The interior of the defensive line, if you add Harold Landry's been pretty damn solid for a veteran.
Yeah,
edge.
he'll always be solid no
Right.
matter what.
But
yeah.
the interior of the defensive line deserves an edge threat.
Yeah.
Milton Williams and Christian Barmore with an edge threat would be the pressures inside from a D tackle like Milton Williams is ridiculous to me.
And it wouldn't happen, but like a guy like Aiden Hutchinson would be
Like
so
that would
good.
be
No,
ridiculous.
yeah.
But like that's not going to
That's
happen.
not- exactly,
But I'm
that's why I
saying,
said it.
they need a violent.
Maybe Trey Hendrickson.
That's a guy you
Yeah.
look at. All right, moving on. NFL's great, but we got to talk about the NBA. It's coming up. Also, before we talk about anything, the damn Boston Bruins. We don't talk hockey here, but holy shit, they're fun to watch. I wasn't a hockey guy until I flipped on a game. Big group, physical group. Fun to watch, great on the boards, and they've been scoring really well. It's fun to watch that team. We talked about when Mark was on the show, he was like, I don't know, Marco Sturm, I don't know what he's going to do. They have kind of figured out their scheme, and it's been working for him. I'm excited to watch that group. It's going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
Outside of hockey, NBA. Celtics played preseason. I talked to Jack about this. Declan was kind of right. This team's got some pieces, and I don't think they're contending pieces, but I think the Minots of the world and the way that Boucher played and quite frankly, Anthony Simons is going to be a fun player to watch on the Celtics
Looked
group.
insane the other night.
He looked great. I think,
Crazy.
when I think about basketball is people are like, hey, it's preseason. If you can shoot efficiently, it doesn't matter what part of the season it is. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're shooting like that in preseason, it's not like football where it's like you're playing 2s and 3s in the court, but like
Yeah.
in the beginning you're playing the 1s and whatever. But it's like if you're basketball is about getting the ball in the damn net, right? I mean, he was efficient. And I think it's going to be a fun team to watch. I'm going to go to Declan first because he's been more tapped in and understanding of where this rebuild's going. And Declan, thoughts on the Celtics group?
Yeah, obviously, I can go back to that Raptors game, which was kind of like not really like an exact representation because none of the starters basically played. Like Simons and Pritchard played in that game, but they played like 15 minutes. But like that was the only thing that was scary is that they almost turned the ball like that like bench unit and like the secondary almost had 30 turnovers, which was bad. Even though they like led for that like the whole game, but other than that game, like they've been way better. Like Anthony Simons looked insane. And kind of like you kind of saw a little like 1-2 punch between White and Simons. Like White and Simons, when they're both on it together, it seems like teams are gonna have like no answer for them when they shoot. I think obviously like you said, like Josh Minot, like I still think this team like has shown they're a little better than what we thought, even though their depth still isn't great, but they've looked way better. And yeah, like you said, like it's only preseason, but preseason can still show signs of life. I still don't think we're a contender, but I think this changes people's like reaction, and I don't think we'll be like out of the playoffs.
Milo, you being a guy that really enjoys one of my Eastern European brothers in Jokic, I'm sure you're definitely not tapped in on the Celtics preseason. But just your thoughts on what this season might entail for a Celtics team that lost Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Luke Cornett, a big majority of this bench that brought them to a championship just 2 seasons ago. And Al Horford as well, a big loss.
Well, I think you're going to have to look to your bench and look to, the guys that are on the team. And you're going to have to dig deep, every single game that you play. You're not going to have the big names and the big name players, and you're not going to have, the guys that are guaranteed locks at doing their position, what they do best, offensively, defensively. So you're going to have to look to options. You're going to have to switch things around. But I think it's going to be, this might be probably a difficult season for the Celtics overall. So regardless of who you have in there as the lineup, Tatum is back and healthy. You got Brown back. But outside of Tatum and Brown, they are the biggest names on that team without a doubt. Even maybe a guy like Sam Hauser, Derek White, but there's not really a guy on the bench that you can look forward to that you can truly trust in. You had Porzingis, Horford. Those guys were pretty much, your guaranteed sort of safety valves, your safety values, guys that have been in the league for a very long time. They know their assignments well. They'll always do well no matter what. So going to have to look to, the younger players, can't really rely on a lot of the, older vets that Porzingis and Horford, were a part of that team. So I think with this season, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. And hopefully it's not going to be a disappointment of a season. It's just that, you have a lot of new players. And nothing is guaranteed for them. So
yeah, I mean, I want them to tank really bad, really fucking bad. But I don't think it's going to happen. Brad Stevens doesn't build teams to tank.
No.
He's confident in the group. I'm sure they're you have to kind of be. I think at their peak they'll be like a 6.
Yeah.
If they really get in like that, I don't know if they'll make it any far. But like I think Derek's going to be pretty solid. Leading scorer, Jalen, he's not going to lead the team, but I think he's going to be very efficient because he's Jalen Brown.
It also does depend because I was like reading before kind of like on Tatum's like injury status. It was kind of being like if the team's doing good, he would come back maybe kind of earlier, like in a February role.
I want him to sit.
But if the team doesn't look that good, he probably wouldn't come back till April.
I need JT to sit on ice and sit there like a good what do you put a sangria on? You don't put sangria on ice.
Sangria.
Could you?
I don't know.
Do you like wine?
Yeah.
On the rocks.
Like a nice rosé.
Like a rosé?
Yeah.
Just sit there and marinate.
Yeah.
Like you know what? I'll say some more man shit. Like a steak, right? On that we're not on that sissy shit, right, Jack?
Right.
But like no, I think he should sit and not play at all.
I just think he's gonna play.
I don't think he will.
Well, he said he wants to.
That's great. I think the superstar.
I said I want $1 billion.
That's right. I think the superstar of this basketball team
but if he's
should
healthy,
be smarter than that.
No, but if he's fully healthy and cleared, and it's February or March, I don't care. Let him play.
If he's cleared, he plays. But I'm saying I don't
if
think.
If he's cleared, you don't think he should play?
If he's cleared, he plays. Is what I just said. I'm saying I don't.
No, Jack. Jack said no.
I mean,
if he's cleared, you play. That's sports. Like
yeah.
But,
But
like,
how are we 100% going to know if he's cleared?
Because the
medical staff clears him.
That's hard to say,
The medical
though.
staff cleared Tua.
Okay, well, that's completely
way
different.
I'm just saying. I'm just like.
That's
It's a
no,
much
but
different
no,
situation.
But
I
that's
disagree.
Way different.
Okay, well, Tua's probably not going to be able to form a sentence by the time he's finished with his career.
Yeah.
With an Achilles injury, obviously you're going to be hindered, and there's a lot of not necessarily jumping involved, but you're constantly like moving on your feet.
When you're the superstar of a basketball team and you hurt your Achilles,
That's tough.
it's hard because you're the guy you're the ball handler. You're really good on defense. Like, it's not like if fucking Luca's fat ass hurt his Achilles, he could come back in time to shoot threes and be fat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But
Anyways,
yeah, because Tatum's more like kind of like two-way kind of.
Tatum's one of the most well-rounded superstars in the NBA. It's the truth of the matter. Okay, we've reached the almost 1 hour mark. I want to go around the room. I know Milo's not a Pats fan, but we like to put our picks in. Red Sox are not currently playing. They were booted from the postseason. We'll probably talk more Sox after the World Series. We'll have our thoughts on the MLB season as well. Not Red Sox, but more of the postseason.
MLB playoffs have been interesting.
They have been, which we'll save for a later episode.
Yeah.
Celtics haven't yet to start their season. We won't give our Bruins picks because that's not what we talk here. The only team left is the Pats, and we're big Revs fans, but we'll keep that on
Their
deck.
season's cooked. It's just over.
He's tapped in, I'm hearing,
It's over.
on the worst team Kraft owns. So picks this week: Tennessee, Brian Callahan. I need you. You're our stat and analytics guy. Can you look at what the odds are, the betting odds for that game? Patriots are taking on the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel's former team. Drake Maye, 12 total touchdowns right now, 2 interceptions. The offense has been rolling. Brian Callahan was fired yesterday while I was brushing my teeth. I'm going to take Patriots 50 burger. I think they're going to put up 50 points against the Titans. I think they're going to beat the shit out of them. And it's a win. 5-2 on the season. Jack, thoughts? Really crazy how you don't think they could put 50 points on a team like Tennessee.
No, I do think they can. I just don't think they will.
I mean, I agree, but
There's a
I want
difference.
them to win 50-0. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, kind of looking at the Panthers, they put up 42 is their most points. That was against the Panthers this year.
Yeah.
I think they win 45-17.
Big one. Declan.
I'm gonna go. Wait, like you said, 50-0.
I want a 50 burger, and not 0, but I want them
What
to
do you
put
think
50 points up.
Are you saying 50 to like 7, or what do you?
I don't know. Whatever Cam Ward can put on the board.
I'm going 58 to 10.
Wow. Going all the way up to 60. Milo,
What is
to
this,
10.
like Alabama
what's
versus
the
current
betting
college?
odd, and then give your pick.
Currently, the betting odd currently for
I don't know.
the total pick for the Patriots is that they will be under 41 points. So,
I look clearer than that.
yeah.
58.
It's crazy. Almost 60.
58.
I think they can
58.
surpass 41. Not surpassing 50. No shot. Picks this week, Patriots, Titans.
They can beat 41 though.
I'd likely think that realistically, they're probably going to shut out the Titans. Titans are through and through on the roster
You can
and the
quote
team
Cam
as
Ward.
well.
We are ass.
Yeah, they are ass. They are more than ass. They are, without a doubt. Actually, no. The Jets are probably the worst.
Jets are the worst team. Yeah.
The Titans are decently proficient at quarterback. They have a good tight end. Other than that, there's not really much there. So likely thinking it's probably going to be not really a really high scoring game. It's going to be a shutout. I'm likely going with probably 27-0 or 33-0.
That's more logical in a shutout, not fucking 50-0 or 58 to fucking 10. Well, for Milo Berryong, thank you for joining us today. Jack Halal, Declan Hickey, I'm sure we'll have Milo on the show later on, as we have had guests on the show.
Yep.
Be prepared down the line for some more guests, of course. Hopefully the Pats put up a shutout this weekend. Mike Vrabel returns to Tennessee in a game that I'm sure he's really excited for. Jack Halal, Declan, Milo, Chuck Larossi, we'll see you next time.